Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. No, leftoids, you don't get to complain. You have lost that privilege with the stance that you have taken over the last however many years. The migrants, they kept saying. What about the migrants? What about the migrant kids? They all declared their cities sanctuary cities, claimed that Republicans were bigots and racists for their, quote, anti-immigration policies and stances. Well, if you feel that way, then you should be absolutely delighted when the illegal migrants get shipped to your front door. I mean, after all, you are their biggest supporters and advocates. It's only right that they get dropped into your care. But no, of course not. The left is only willing to support illegal immigrants when it's not their responsibility or their problem. And of course, as we've covered, the moment it crosses into their states and their neighborhoods, all of a sudden it's a crisis, all of a sudden it's an outrage, and we have yet another moment of Democrats looking like complete liars and hypocrites. We gotta talk about this one, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, so I don't get what the big problem is. They keep telling us Ron DeSantis is a terrible leader. He's a fascist, a tyrant. The state of Florida is an uninhabitable hellhole, they keep telling us. So then what exactly is the problem when Ron DeSantis takes these illegal migrants and ships them over your way, Democrats? Where's the issue? I mean, if we're being consistent here based on your rhetoric and your logic, shouldn't Democrats be overjoyed that these illegal migrants that they seemingly care for so much are in their hands and in their care and not under the oppressive rule of fascist Ron DeSantis? You would think so, but no, of course not. They're outraged, they're melting down, they're losing their damn minds, and of course looking completely terrible in the process. Here's CNN's John Berman essentially likening Ron DeSantis' new immigration policy of shipping them to Obama's backyard as similar to, well, how do we put this, 1940s Germany, straight out of the fascist playbook, he says.
This is history. All of your documentaries are about history.
Yeah.
But all of them also make you think about where we are now. And we woke up to the news this morning that Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida sent 2 plane loads of migrants to Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts, including kids and whatnot. And I'm not saying this is not a one-for-one. This is not a parallel here in any way. But it does address some of the same themes that are part of this documentary.
Well, it's the abstraction of human life. It's basically saying that you can use a human life that is as valuable as yours or mine or Lynn's, and to put it in a position of becoming a political pawn in somebody's authoritarian game. This is the coming straight out of the authoritarian playbook. This is what's so disturbing about DeSantis, is to use human beings, to weaponize human beings for a political purpose. It's like when somebody disagrees with him in Florida, like the Walt Disney Company, he punishes them. This is not the actions of a person participating in a democratic process in which there's an exchange of ideas. This is about punishing political enemies, putting on shows, political theater. And in this case, this is with the lives of human beings. And what's so ironic is these are Venezuelan refugees, which DeSantis should be supporting because they're trying to flee the corruption of a left-wing government and all of the pain there. And so the level of cynicism is beyond that. And what we find in all our films is that the themes that we engage in the past are present today. And so when you look at the story that we're telling of the U.S. and the Holocaust, you understand that the time to save a democracy is before it's lost. We promise you.
What an absolutely terrible and laughable take. Ron DeSantis is a fascist who abuses his power in order to punish his political enemies, they say. Yeah, no, I don't think so, dummy. What Ron DeSantis is doing is very simply enforcing the law. So if it's his job, and Democrats keep incentivizing illegal immigration and pushing for a path to citizenship or amnesty, if Democrats declare their states and their cities sanctuary states and sanctuary cities, then you can't complain when a Republican governor sends a small fraction of the problem straight to you. Ron DeSantis chimes in.
We are not a sanctuary state, and it's better to be able to go to a sanctuary jurisdiction. And yes, we will help facilitate that transport for you to be able to go to greener pastures. Biden would fly people in the middle of the night, dump them all across this country. There was no warning on any of this. And all those people in D.C. and New York were beating their chests when Trump was president, saying they were so proud to be sanctuary jurisdictions, saying how bad it was to have a secure border. The minute even a small fraction of what those border towns deal with every day is brought to their front door, they all of a sudden go berserk, and they're so upset that this is happening. And it just shows you, their virtue signaling is a fraud. Okay.
Of course, Ron DeSantis once again hits the nail directly on the head. Doesn't seem like a fascist tyrant punishing his political enemies. It just seems like he's coming to a very logical conclusion. Democrat cities declaring themselves sanctuary cities, well, they shouldn't be complaining when migrants are seeking sanctuary in their sanctuary cities. Seems perfectly logical and definitely not fascistic to me. But of course, as Ron DeSantis points out, the moment the problem hits their doorstep, all of a sudden it becomes a crisis and, well, we can't deal with this problem now, can't we? Here's what the residents from Martha's Vineyard are saying.
So,
what are the most difficult challenges right now?
The difficult challenges are we have, at some point in time, they have to move from here to somewhere else, right? We don't have the services to take care of 50 immigrants, and we certainly don't have housing. We're in a housing crisis as we are on this island, and so we can't house everyone here that lives here and works here. We don't have housing for 50 more people.
Well, we don't have the resources, they say. Yeah, well, that's kind of the point. That's kind of what Texas and Arizona have been saying for how long? Yet you same liberals continue to claim that they're racist and deplorable and evil. And honestly, if anybody has the resources to house and care for these illegal migrants, it's the elitist liberal crowd at Martha's Vineyard. As Ron DeSantis' right-hand woman, Christina Pushaw, puts it, Martha's Vineyard claims to be a sanctuary jurisdiction that welcomes illegal aliens. Most of those multi-million-dollar mansions are summer homes that are vacant most of the year. They can be used to house thousands of illegal migrants. Time to walk the walk, Biden voters. And she is completely correct. Democrats, you talk the talk, now it's time to walk the walk. Oh my God, the poor illegal migrants that Donald Trump put in Obama's cages. How dare he, they said. Well, here I see multiple $6+ million mansions. I'm sure you got a couple spare bedrooms now, don't you? Of course not. They talk a whole big game when it comes to virtue signaling on Twitter, but when it comes to actually taking action and taking responsibility for the crisis that they created, all of a sudden these elitist Democrats are a no-show. But you can't run away from this problem this time, Democrats, because southern border states aren't playing games anymore and they're shipping the problem straight to you. Democrats certainly can't run away from this one when illegal migrants are also being shipped right outside Kamala Harris's residence.
Buses filled with migrants from our southern border have just arrived outside Vice President Kamala Harris's residence at the Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. Griff Jenkins is live on the scene to tell us more. Griff, is that Massachusetts Avenue that I'm looking at right there?
Yeah. Good morning, Steve, Ainsley, and Brian. This bus just arrived moments ago. I talked to some of the folks. Apparently, this bus has come from Del Rio, Texas. That's what a gentleman on the bus told me. And these, pardon me, ¿de dónde eres?
De Venezuela.
Venezuela? ¿Habla inglés?
No.
Sí, no? No? La presidenta Harris dice que frontera cerrado. ¿La frontera es cerrado or abierto?
Abierto.
Abierto. So what she's saying, Steve, I asked her, Vice President Harris says that the border is closed. She says it's open as we see these migrants coming across now. We're not sure how many there are.
This is one of the most epic political trolls of all time. Democrats are claiming that it's an outrage, that it's despicable, but of course it's not. It's perfect. It's called accountability. Is it a political stunt? Absolutely. Is it a solution to the problem? Absolutely not. I keep seeing people from the right on Twitter claiming that it's a political stunt, and these illegal migrants shouldn't be shipped further into the country. They should be shipped back over the border after they cross illegally. But that's kind of hard considering the Biden administration just fought tooth and nail to axe the Trump-era remain in Mexico policy. Once again, the Democrats have done everything in their power to further exacerbate this crisis. Therefore, the crisis itself should land in their jurisdiction, especially if they declare sanctuary status. The hypocrisy, friends, it's written everywhere in big, bold letters. Here's a quote from Biden's White House puppet.
The children Governor Abbott abandoned in Martha's Vineyard, the children that Governor DeSantis abandoned as well, deserve better. They deserve better than being left on the streets of D.C.
The children that Governor DeSantis abandoned deserve better than being left on the streets of D.C. or Martha's Vineyard. I mean, by their logic, aren't they getting the better option by being in your caring, empathetic Democrat hands? I mean, what could be better than a free vacation in Martha's Vineyard? Ron DeSantis is a fascist. People should leave Florida because it's a hellhole. Ron DeSantis turns around and says, okay, well then why don't you take these people and save them from this horrible fascistic hellhole? No, you can't do that. Here's Soledad O'Brien on Twitter, basically human trafficking, cheered on by people who call themselves Christians. It's disgusting. Well, now all of a sudden Democrats are outraged over human trafficking. You know, when the cartels do it, Democrats almost go blind. When Joe Biden ships illegal migrants across the nation in the middle of the night, without any warning, any support, or any funding, that's certainly not human trafficking and nothing to be outraged over. But when Ron DeSantis sends 50 migrants to Obama's Martha's Vineyard, all of a sudden, it's human trafficking and it's an outrage. Give me a break and spare me your sanctimony. These Democrats take hypocrisy to an unbelievable, unfathomable level. But I gotta admit, it's certainly entertaining, and it's certainly just incredible watching them lose their minds. But that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching, friends, and I'll see you on the next one.